I think it's the first time that's been oversimplified. Wow, this is going to be a group. So you should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. And sorry, but that means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame. Sorry, Blake, it works in my favor. And they're not drunk, so it's really going to work in my favor. So my beard should be much cooler. Does that make sense? So because it's not skin temperature, so my beard should be like a blue and black area. So that's because obviously it's cooler, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for blue and black. That's going to be the colder areas inside of the frame. We're always going to have blue and black, and the point I'm trying to make here is it's a little bit of a cooler night here in Charleston. I know this is like perfect temperature, by the way, but I mean, we're going to have glass on windshields, buildings, aluminum cans, a sign that caught some wind. Like, there's always going to be blue and black. However, what we're looking for is for that blue and black to move or to take shape. When I say take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. That's what we've caught with this guy in the past. That's hopefully what we'll capture with it again. That's the cool part about this particular camera. I also love to give you stats about my equipment. I am not a TV show host. I'm not a YouTuber. This camera will capture about 4 to 5 pieces per year that I would put my stamp of approval on, not per episode. You guys seeing my point? Yeah. I do have dozens of others. That's like a, maybe. I save it. It goes in the maybe pile. But 4 to 5 pieces solid per year that I'm like, holy shit, that's some good stuff. But anyway, there's also a blue dot bouncing on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see it from your distance of where you're at, but the blue dot is there to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. I do keep track of our ambient temperature. So our temperature tonight, according to the Weather Channel, is at 62 degrees. I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. So I'm looking for 47 degrees and colder coming out of that blue dot. And I also want it to move. If it lands somewhere, super great. It found a windshield, or it found a gap in the trees to land on the sky that has no surface. I want that 47 or colder to actually be moving. So that means the blue dot is moving across the screen. So with this one, so at least this one's in each space. The reason why is because if you hit the start button by the time you think you saw something, it's already gone. So we're just going to get all the footage. If people are walking by and you need to point it at the ground, we will all understand the footage of your feet. So we get it. I just don't want to make people feel uncomfortable out here. So welcome to a smelly old parking lot with a big old dumpster in it. How convenient is this, right? So this is something, well, I guess all the communicators, so that's 3 of you. This is where I start withholding that information on purpose. I don't want you seeking things out. I will not give you any questions here like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your communicators. So what is this place? This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of the space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing right on the edge of the servant and slave quarters. So that's the layout of the land. Who the hell were these folks? Definitely watch out for 2.5s while we're in here, or higher. We're going to talk about that once we start getting it rolling. But Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks, in case none of you were paying attention. That's why we look for those secondary clues. In the event that the name Charles shows up, I hope there's a secondary clue so I know how to address that specific Charles. They are 3 different men. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than all of you combined, especially what are we, 2 weeks away from the damn election? Get it over with already? I know, we're all tired of the commercials. Are you getting that over in Germany too? Like all the craziness going on over
No,
there?
I get to ignore all that. I just get a lot of Europeans that talk shit about Trump. So.
Oh, good. But anyway, so if I don't give the recognition to the 2 gentlemen, they're going to do it for me in a nasty manner for a spirit box, so I just do it anyway, and we just move on. We're going to discuss Eliza instead. So that was mainly for the 2 Chucks. 2 out of the 3 Chucks. So, Eliza, she marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it slowly because if you're going to ask her how old she was, don't expect numbers from colonial times when young ladies got married at like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards, because the husband, Charles, was over double her age when they married. It was a creepy age gap back then, it's a creepy age gap now. So I'll just give you those little subtle clues. Moving on. She married him because her father was over in England. Dad thinks he's dying over there. He's trying to bring all his kids home one last time. Well, Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put, right here, got married. It is 1744. You do not get married in that particular year to earn a green card. We are not a country yet. There's no such thing. This is a true love story. There is nothing horrific about this location. If anything, it's a place of respect, and you're going to find that out why shortly here. So anyway, Dad didn't die right away, so Eliza was correct. What the hell is that?
I didn't like that.
Nightmare.
I have never heard that sound out here before. Hopefully you got that shit on video. That would be fantastic if like the Mothman was on top of that building right now. Sorry.
Should I be looking towards the building?
No, because the sky's up there.
Right, that's why I was trying to go down. Okay.
But anyway, it'd be even worse if none of the audio pieces that Elise and I have caught that sound. So that would be an anomaly all by itself. So now I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch the damn video.
I was like, I heard it.
Yeah, we all heard it.
Yeah. It's confusing.
Yeah, definitely weird. So anyway, Dad didn't die right away. You guys got the point on that one. And Dad is now sending gifts to Eliza right to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye, makes your blue jeans blue. None of you have it on tonight. I normally have at least one example. So with that, when she got those indigo seeds, she had no idea what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it going. It's not always warm here. You guys all have hoodies and long sleeves on. Oh, except for you.
I stole her hoodie.
Got it. But she had to learn how to keep it going and then learn how to make the dye, and then got a hold of her father overseas and told him that the rice plantation prices were going downhill. They were going to make a killing with this indigo. And now we have this international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys showed up. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to assign focus questions based off what type of device that you have.
3.5.
Nice. Now we have some 3.5. So with yours, we're going to escalate it. What I mean by that, now that we have a 3.5, don't give me anything below it. The next number above that, we won't go below that moving forward. And then we get into a new space, we'll start all over again. I just like to see how high it goes. This way I don't have a whole number full of numbers. So with yours,
Yes.
you are going to be asking about Eliza's death. Focus questions are going to be wrapped around that death. And keep in mind, if she's asking questions, those answers can go anywhere from any of our devices, audios on ours, or you might get the answer of what she's asking, and it goes in any way, shape, or form. That's why I always have, if there was only two of you here, we would have two communicators, a camera, plus my voice recorder. That way there's always a way to communicate in more than one way. Age, the time of death, how she died, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Age, how, where, president is the easiest way to remember that. So your device on the left will also give us numbers. So we're going to have you stay focused on the marriage, just trying to keep things happy for her, because we're always like poking the bear with certain things. So you can ask like how old she was when she got married. You can ask what year they got married. You can verify that. But you're also going to focus on her maiden name, the name before marriage. The reason being is the Eliza I just spoke of was the second wife named Eliza and Charles back to back. First wife, also named Eliza, also has a maiden name that starts with the same letter as the second, the letter L. So figure out which Eliza we're dealing with by asking about her maiden name. So with yours, we're going to keep things nice and simple for you. With this one, yeah, you have the new spirit box that I'm still learning more and more about. I've only had that thing for a few months. So you're going to stay focused on the mansion itself. It's not here, right? So what happened to it? So try to get that answer, and then if we get the what, we will often get 2 or 3 numbers from the exact date of when that actually occurred. So just kind of keep that in mind. So you're listening for mainly like the tragedies. Obviously I gave you a clue that it was indeed a tragedy, but like numbers are a big deal. So try to figure out where those numbers are, but also anything weird that sticks out to you, because you don't know what these people are also asking. Somebody might go rogue. Do you have something relevant? Upset. Is somebody upset? You guys don't look upset. Maybe. Trust me, I don't believe Eliza's upset with me. I would know. Trust me, we've gotten some really nasty messages out of this location before. If you go rogue and ask your own questions, that's okay, but 3 small rules. No yes, no questions. We've already discussed that. Be respectful out of this location, and do not ask about her children. So I will explain before we leave the space. You'll kind of poke the bear with our modern day language. We are going to spread out a little bit, and I'll do like Ron Robbins with you guys. We're fortunate enough to where nobody parked in here tonight, so we got the whole place to ourselves. If somebody's passing through, obviously just lower your camera and that kind of thing, and help him try to remember all the things that he's hearing. Some people take notes when they're using these spirit boxes once they start getting good at it, so that way they're not missing anything. Because if I'm with you and he's hearing a bunch of shit, he's going to forget some of the things that he forgot. So completely up to you. What's the last 4 or 5 terms that we have going on there? Anything weird other than upset?
Margin, similarity, dismiss.
Yeah, nothing. Garbage so far. Okay, and then you had a what, a 3.5?
3.5.
3.5. Okay, so you're looking for numbers above 3.5. All right, spread out, guys. Have some fun. Let's do this. You guys paid me to go to work. Let's do it.
Mine was her last name, her maiden name, and her age. And her
You can ask anything about her, how long they were married. bigger camera, just so you know. I don't always follow up with it in real time because it's small.
Yeah.
I send the videos over to YouTube so I can watch it on a computer. You guys can, watch it on your, TV sets.
Yeah.
That's the way I set it up. So how many of these type of events has he like dragged you to before?
First one.
So, well, you said you guys did ghost tours
Well,
before.
yeah, but they're not like legit. I feel like they're kind of just like, oh, here's what the story is.
But still, I mean, I'm doing the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's just actual history.
Yeah,
I just do the research.
just one other one, I guess, because we were here for our honeymoon a couple years ago. So
Yeah.
and then we did like the bulldog one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My only one true competitor out here.
yeah.
And that's only because they're large and
Yeah.
in charge of the city kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of tie-ins.
No, and it was good. I mean, we enjoyed it. Just
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's still a couple of ghost tours that I take from some notable tour guides around the city that I'll take them once or twice a year just as
Yeah.
a refresh and recap. And I don't have a whole lot of friends in this industry, so I try to keep the ones I do have.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with this again, it's not always a real time thing. So it's always we did capture something. I want to say it's about 2 weeks ago now.
Mhm.
We had a full cold, and it almost looked like wind. Started at my ankles and just slowly moved up and covered up my body heat and the whole 9 yards. So it didn't get as cold as my water bottle because
Mhm.
I did have like the top of it open, so like the water was ice cold.
Yeah.
So it didn't get as cold as that, so it didn't register as being the coldest thing in there.
Yeah.
But something that cold to cover my body heat, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the biggest things I've ever caught with that camera. I have caught people walking towards me, like fully blue, and they weren't visible on another camera angle, so I was able to verify, like,
Yeah.
from different things. So we've caught some really cool things with that, but again, about 4 or 5 a year. So we'll kind of see what we get out of it tonight. You never know.
Yeah.
Could be one of those nights.
I don't know what I'm really doing here, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you're in the perfect spot. Normally with this, I usually look for things like along the wall. See how the wall's holding on to the heat?
Yeah.
Because the ground is made up of like 5 different types of materials, so that's why you have all this different variation of color here between the black, blue, red, all of that mixed in. So the wall holds the heat from the sun from the daytime. So if we have a blue anomaly that goes across the wall, and that's where I've caught things with this here before.
Okay.
So the ground is okay, but the wall is always better,
Okay.
just because the wall's going to be a little bit more stable.
All right.
You got this. bury the body.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Where'd she, oh, she's right there.
I'm gonna fart in front of you.
How romantic.
Still as you are, like
Trying.
you would not believe some of the footage that I get out of these cameras.
Okay. Nothing that I can tell, but I don't really know what I'm looking for.
comfort?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really gets into it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. He said it sounds good.
Alright, so a couple of things that actually got me pretty excited. So normally when we get things like leave now or get out kind of business. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, hit a stop. So when I usually don't take it like at face value, like, oh my god, we gotta get out of here until something else happens. She heard the word goodbye.
Yes, I heard it twice.
What'd you hear?
Bye.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
They really, really are. Fridays and Saturdays, like it's a hustling, bustling city. But again, I mean, if you want to face this way, just kind of hold it out like this, nice and steady. And that,
Is it that way? Or this way?
well, you want to record it that way.
That way.
So,
Oh, so it's that way.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
there you
So
go.
that was fine.
Yeah, we don't want footage of our legs. We all, you know what I mean? I mean, if somebody farts, we'll know it because it's a thermal cone. Right.
So point it that way.
Yeah.
How's that look?
I want you to be comfortable.
It's not
so,
gonna be.
Yeah, so flip your hand. There you go. And just hold it like that.
Okay.
All right, so every ghost story comes down here. We all tell the same damn story, most of the time, I guess. But did somebody fart and I didn't know it?
there was a noise back here.
Oh, that's Remy. We're in his house. If you don't watch Disney movies, do I need to explain?
Yes. Is it the rest of that?
No, it's
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Ew.
Oh, God. Ew.
What? Don't you not
Yeah,
watch that
he's fine.
movie?
He
It's
won't
a
come near
rat.
us. He's fine. I'm down here every day, and I have just when he goes by, I'm like, hey Remy, and we're in his house. But anyway,
What's he cooking up?
the ghost tours come down here and all tell the same story. I'm just going to give you the extra details just because we're ghost hunting. We're not on a campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. On this guy, we are looking for an 8 or an above, only because the lamppost near us will go up to a 7. So we're kind of in a more condensed area. So you kind of have to know your spots. Here's how the story goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If the song Brown Eyed Girl shows up for either one of you while we're here, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. We get it all the time. Just so you have that idea. But anyway, Doc moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents. And she has an attorney helping her out. Does that say the word play?
Yes.
Good. It's not probably in a sense that you guys think of. I'm going to explain once we go through the story.
That's why I was waiting.
Yep. So the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's cash, so he tells Amanda to get rid of that doctor fella, and he comes down here to prove that he's not after her money. He's going to start his medical practice down here, and he's going to make his own cash. So on his way into town, he had a coachman. The coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It's like having a really bad Uber driver in today's world, and I just told you guys to take a pedicab home.
Yeah.
I know. So somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen, and the somebody walking by was named Ralph Isaacs. Do those initials sound familiar to anything else I may have said while we've been here?
Rhode Island.
Thank you.
Alright.
Yep.
Okay.
So we are getting RI regularly on regular spirit boxes, so I bought another device. It's basically like a little digital Ouija board. So what it does is it works off of EMF, just like this device here, and anytime there's a spike, it gives us a letter. And I bought it on purpose to verify the RI. We've had it quite a bit of time in the past year and a half that I've had the device, but the device just broke 2 nights ago. I took the damn thing apart and made it even worse, and now I got to order a whole new one.
Aw.
I know, right? It's not always super productive either, so just kind of keep that in mind. People just love to look down this alley. By the way, this is one of the most beautiful spots in all of Charleston. It's very picturesque night or day. So just if you're a picture taker, this is the place to be. I'd say it's even more popular to me than it is Rainbow Row. Makes better pictures. Moving on. So Ralph tells the doctor, hey dude, I know this guy. He is going to try to kill you. The coachman. So why don't you come with me? I got friends at 59 Church Street. They got a room open. You can rent it and you'll be safe. Well, Doc took him up on that offer, and the two gentlemen became friends. The longer the doctor's staying here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's making his own. She gets wind of this from Rhode Island. She's moving down so they can be married, and Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. Happy, jovial guy. This is why I hate the damn story. It's because every haunted city you will ever visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. I was going to take this out of my route, but there is some legitimacy here. Let's get into it. This is called Philadelphia Alley now, but it used to be called Dueler's Alley. Here's how this part of the story goes. Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. There's your word play coming into effect.
I just saw the mouse. I'm sorry.
So what?
I just
Saw the rat. Are you like freaking out on me, dude? Like really?
Oh, I hate rodents.
Okay, well, you're in Charleston, man. Expected. I mean, we got palmetto bugs, we got giant rats the size of kitties, and like, yeah, we got them all. Like, Remy's big.
Nothing
I'm not gonna
I
lie to you,
haven't
man.
seen
He's
in
probably
the
not this
subway
big.
years.
He's a big guy. So they go see this play, and they're walking home talking about the new actress that they just saw, and Dr. Ladd thought she was great, and Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island, and they go their separate ways after a nice big ugly argument. But Ralph the next day goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he, what does that say?
Graveyard.
I just heard look behind.
Oh, that's because Remy went that way. And there goes another one.
That's so funny.
Anybody know the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard? So I want you to think of graveyard. It's actually attached to the church property where the church sits. So the house needs a yard. So that's the easiest way to remember that. A cemetery is offsite. We are actually on the other side of this wall is the St. Philip's graveyard. So that's an interesting piece. So we'll see if something else pops up around that, because based on what you guys find here, kind of determines what story I tell next. That's because there's two different ones. I'm working with a new one because I don't like to tell the one I normally tell, because we'll talk about that later. But back to
It's okay, just concentrate on it.
I know I'm trying to like keep on with this doctor story because he's like, I could hear his heartbeat over here. He's freaking out a little bit.
Explore.
So
So they can't sit together.
yeah. So they argued over the actress, and then Ralph goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a you're a disgrace to society kind of shit. Well, Doc saw that ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. Yeah, this all started over an actress. I just like to point out how dumb shit was in the 1700s. Anyway, the two gentlemen came down here. They went back to back, took their 10 paces. They turned. Doc pointed his gun in the air and shot his one shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just needed the courage to show up, which is often what happened at duels back then. But Ralph still has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc didn't die. He fell to the ground. His friends picked him up and took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Two things about what I just said. It is 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then than what we know of them now. Secondly, he is a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but failed, obviously because he died. And today is, what, October 20th? We're getting very close to the anniversary of that duel itself of October 23rd, so I'm going to say the 24th, just depends on which
So
version
you're
of the
coming
story
here
you're
on
reading.
the 23rd?
Yeah, of course I am. October 23rd actually has a lot of relevance to all of the different locations that we've been to and going to tonight. So that's a very significant day here in Charleston.
Let's skip.
But anyway, so every ghost tour tells their guests to listen for the whistles while they're down here. We have a camera running plus my voice recorder. If we're going to get a disembodied whistle, more than likely it's going to come from one of those two different devices. However, I can't tell you how many times I'm going through the Spirit Box recording, and I basically get the whistling part of a song and then the word doctor from a commercial immediately after. Doctor happens all the time. I don't look for it, it just happens. I'm also going to tell you about how I do the spot checks. I listen to minute 1, 5, 10, 15. You see the pattern. I'm not looking for anything. And then I go back through the list and say, oh, we are in Dueler's Alley at this time. We are at the Pinckney Mansion at that time. And I'm like, oh, that's relevant because I'm not looking for anything. If it's weird, I just put it in the list and then look at the list together as a whole. That's how I like to look at this, so that way I'm not biased for looking for anything specific. So if you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through the alley and listen for those whistles using the voice recorders from your phone, just remember every local knows the damn story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down the alley. It's just something we do here. So keep that in the back of your brain if you're going to do it. Let's talk about how I got kicked out of here. This is the fun part of the story. You ready for this? So we're trying to take your mind off the damn rat, and I just brought it back up again. I'm a jerk like that. It's like, damn it, I'm all at you. There used to be a wall halfway between us and Cumberland Street, right around where that doorway sits from that other building. And the reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So it's called Cow Alley. We're going further back than Dueler's Alley. So cows, goats, and chickens are down here. Why the hell am I telling you this on a ghost hunt? The bricks down there at the other side are older than the ones we're standing on. This is where you guys are getting into the point of the handprint. So those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. So there's a handprint from a slave child down there and fingerprints, wipes, and others. All the stuff that you see up here, I can't count it as anything because there's no verification. Those have been verified. That's the reason why I point those out. I used to take my groups all the way through here and show off that handprint and the fingerprints wipes. But it was only a history lesson. There is nothing paranormal about that brick down there. I already told you how I feel about cemeteries. That kid is not staring at that damn brick in the afterlife. It was mainly, we need to see how far we've come from history, so I would show it off every single night. So, one night, November 26th of 2020, I took my entire group of 10 people down there, and I showed it off, but they all stopped. And they're all huddled around the damn brick, waiting for something to happen with the gear I handed out. I know nothing's going to happen because he's not there. I'm also trying to be respectful because we're standing outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. Well, that owner of that mansion came out screaming his head off. And my daughter was on the tour that night. She was about 14 at the time. She thought it was hysterical that her father was getting yelled at. She was all about it. The next day, we just moved on. It was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on holidays because I used to work in upper management for Walmart. You guys fight over towels on Thanksgiving? You scarred me for life. I don't do holidays ever. So I take off like the simplest holidays. Like, you want to tell me it's like, I don't know, like cinnamon toast crunch day, like I'm going to take the day off. Like, that's just how I work. Again, I never know who's going to get drunk on what holiday. Anyway, the next day was the 28th of November. The date's irrelevant. I'm getting to it. So I called my partner that I had at the time that brought me into tourism that I don't work with anymore, and I told him what happened. He's laughing just like my daughter did, and he already got the complaint and basically said, dude, you're not allowed to go down all the way. About halfway is about the cutoff point because it's residential after that. Reroute your group tonight. Well, it's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. And tickets were much cheaper back then because I was still new at this. So I told my group, I don't believe in the next story. I've never had anything happen over there. Plus, I'm into vampires, not pirates. Like, I would normally tell you a pirate story next, by the way, but I've been kicked out of there too. We'll talk about it later. But anyway, somebody with a spirit box before we left. What's the first pirate you think of if I mention pirates? Blackbeard, right? So somebody hears the name Anne. I didn't tell them it was going to be Anne Bonny. I do resent the fact that I can't go over there anymore. And then I got caught going over there too many times. But at any rate, so I didn't tell him it was going to be Anne Bonny, so I was kind of like, oh shit, maybe we'll get something. Took him around the corner, told him what I did know about pirates. Not much, because I only had a few hours to do quick research. Remember, this isn't my bag. I'm into vampires and shit. So, somebody else heard the number 300. No idea what it means. Write it down, do the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720.
Wow.
We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial on the first investigation there. I was actually pissed. Let me explain. You guys are all with the wows. That's pretty cool.
You
No.
wanted to know more.
No. Pirate stories come from pirate lore. Pirate lore was written 100 years after the golden age of piracy. Anytime you guys found anything over there, I had to read like 5 textbooks just to verify one small piece of evidence. That's a shit ton of reading. Half my library now was all books on pirates and how to debunk them and how to, like, what was the way of life. I played more video games, there's more documentaries, books, you name it. If it's pirates, I'm probably the fucking expert around here now. But I got into it and it's kind of like my thing now. I can't tell the story anymore. So what we're going to be doing when we get up there, what other terms did you guys hear while we were here, or were you focused on me entirely?
I was
Nothing?
listening.
Yeah, I was listening, but nothing stood out.
Nothing stood out.
Stop, painful, ladder, Benny.
Dang, you were good. I'm like,
Benny's weird. That's a weird name. You don't
It
hear
was
that.
Benny and the Jets. That's
But
why I
still.
remembered it.
Yeah, but still.
it could be a nickname, Benjamin.
Mhm.
Popular name back then.
Right. 1800s. There's a lot of Benjamins around here in the 1800s. What did you get? You
I
had.
got bottled. Before we got here, though, it was funny because right after I got the word kid, I got the word smile. And you said that he was a really happy guy.
Mhm.
So, but I didn't hear that story until after I got the word. So, I haven't got any high readings.
Okay. The next spot, what we're going to do is I'm going to take the camera over, like I'm going to put that one away, and we're going to be using a night vision infrared camera. We're going to be dealing with an apparition. I'm going to tell the story that I've been telling just because of what's been going on for the past few nights. It's an interesting piece. I was trying to get away from it further and further by telling a whole different story. I don't always like to tell the one I'm about to tell you because it's kind of a cursed tale. You'll see that once we get over there. Not to mention every ghost tour tells a story too. So we're still going to swap out the camera because we're still going to be looking for an apparition. I'll show you guys how the camera works, like with a little demonstration. And then I will explain our last 2 stops from there because they're going to be completely different than what we've been doing. Everything we're going to be doing from thereafter is going to be kind of a group effort. It won't be a lot of spreading out like what we're about to go through. So when we do get over there, because we're going up and around the corner this way, so we're going to leave the way we came in. We have seen some weird anomalies of like 5s and 9s over there, so
Yeah.
I'm still excited about anything over 2.5 once we get closer to the church.
Okay.
So anything on the sidewalk away from the church. Let me see the whole word list. Can you bring up the list? I just want to see if anything else falls in with that word kid, because that doesn't really fall into play with the time.
Well, it's fine because I got it like after the hotel, and then we came to this alley, and of course we were familiar with the story with the handprint. So
Right.
That's why.
Handprint thing isn't really a feature for me here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of it keeps things nice and light and shows you guys like I do explore a lot.
Yeah, we were actually on a drinking tour, pub tour, and we walked through here to get to the next bar, and he stopped and told the story about the handprint. I got a picture of it. Others thought it was just very. I don't think I've never. Yeah, it's unique. I've never heard anything like that.
So there are other places. There's 2 other spots in Charleston where those handprints can. Well, actually, technically 3, because there is. If you go to the Charleston Museum, there's actually a few of those bricks like on display. Like in so there, you could definitely see like the fingerprint indentations, like
Yeah.
the actual fingerprints. So I mean, you could see like it's pretty in depth. But there are other 2 locations that you can visit where they're actually there. But if you, I've actually walked through this alley like in the middle of the night, like if I'm shooting TikToks or whatever, like I love this alley for stuff like that. Like after I'm done with your guys' data, it's normally like 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, and the whole city's just like this, and nobody's bothering me with a camera. So I'll come down here, and you can select the camera by the way. You don't have to be staring there. I'm comfortable. But I've actually gone through and like moved.